Okay, tomorrow I'm going to do the 24-hour endurance movie marathon. Okay, I've survived 23 hours of watching movies straight. My eyes are watering from looking at the screen too long, and I'm feeling quite tired. It was hard to do. It was difficult to get through the last few films because you're tired. Will I do it again? Probably not. Hi and welcome to the channel. I'm about to do something quite stupid. I did it a year ago, I'm going to do it again, but I've changed the rules a little bit. It's called the 24-hour movie challenge, and for the next 24 hours I'm going to be on this couch watching movies. However, there are some rules, and I changed the rules from last year. I learned from the things that went wrong on that last marathon of mine, and it's going to be a bit different. So, first rule, no sleeping. It's pretty simple, pretty basic, not ambiguous at all, no sleeping. This year, all the movies I'm going to watch are movies I have not previously seen. That's important because I kind of ruined some classic films that I really liked last time by watching them towards the end of the 24 hours when my attention wasn't at its best. Rule 3. 6 really good movies, 6 movies that might be a bit dodgy. The reason for that is I'll watch the good 6 movies first, then I'll watch the movies that maybe don't need all of my attention in the second half. Each of the 6 movies in the 2 groups is watched randomly. I got Google to give me random numbers between 1 and 6, and I went in that order after I'd written them down, so we've got that sorted out. Number 5. Toilet breaks and food breaks are okay, but only between movies if you can at all avoid them. If something urgent comes up, I can pause the movie. So there's not that locked to the chair with your legs crossed kind of thing happening. Number 6, it's early in the morning. Number 6, brief reviews to the camera between each movie. It's only fair to you guys. Number 7, and this is one I find quite easy to do, no drugs stronger than coffee. I've got enough coffee there to keep me going, and that's how I'm going to roll. So that's pretty much it for the rules. I'll get things started, and the first movie is Tokyo Story, directed by Yasujiro Ozu. Classic classic Japanese film, which I haven't seen, and which all of my friends who are Japanophile movie buffs say I should see. So I'm going to watch that one at 8 o'clock. It is now 7:31, so I've got a bit of set-up time. I've got time to get a coffee and maybe a munchie. And then we'll get on with this classic of Japanese cinema, which I am looking forward to. I'll see you then. Wow, that's a hell of a way to start this little exercise. Tokyo Story is one of the great pieces of cinema. It's a story about an old man and his wife who come to visit their family in Tokyo. And it's about a lot more than that. I can't do it justice in a brief little thing here. If you haven't seen Ozu's Tokyo Story, you really should. It is just the best of cinema. And I'm kind of glad I started with it. I'm a bit teary because it is that kind of movie. But I'm going to move on to a comedy now. And it is, he said, reaching for The Happiness of the Katakuras. Takeshi Miike, another Japanese film, but one that is incredibly different from Tokyo Story and a lot lighter. So I'll get on with it. So I've gone from one of the saddest Japanese movies of all time to one of the happiest. The Happiness of the Katakuras is a mad film. It's got claymation animation in it, it's got song and dance, it's got zombies and dead bodies, it has everything you want in a messed up film. And going from Tokyo Story to that is probably one of the weirder double features I've ever done in my life. But it's time to move on now. The third movie I'm doing is Louise Buñuel's Belle de Jour, starring Catherine Deneuve. Haven't seen it before, but I'm pretty sure it's fairly different from Tokyo Story and The Happiness of the Katakuras. So I better get on with that. I'll let you know a little bit about that after that. Still going strong, still getting the movies watched, and I'm looking forward to this one as well. See you then. Okay, well, I finished Belle de Jour, which I hadn't seen before. I knew a little bit about it, but not very much. It's about a rich woman, the wife of a doctor, who becomes a sex worker. Interesting film, and I think it's going to play a lot differently to a modern audience than it would have to an audience in 1967 when it first came out. But yeah, I'm glad I saw it. It's a complex film, and I'm probably going to be thinking about it for a long time in the future. So I'm running pretty well with the movies I've seen so far, so we're moving on to the fourth film, which is Les Diaboliques. So on with that one. Okay, so I finished Les Diaboliques. That was good. I liked the thriller part of it. I liked the mystery part of it. I like French black and white films, and I'm not going to spoil it for you by telling you the ending, but it's pretty damn good. So I'm 1/3 the way through now, and is it 1/3? So I've done 4 and there are 12, so it's a quarter of the way through. And I'm going to, is it a quarter? It's a third the way through. And so now I'm going to see a movie called Wuxia, starring Donnie Yen. So I'm moving on to action films. Following that, I've got the first movie ever directed by John Cassavetes. So I'm looking forward to that one. And then I get on to the back 6, which are the movies that aren't as good. So I better get on with it because time is passing. Yeah, I know there's a dog barking in the background, but I've finished Wuxia, the Donnie Yen movie. What I'm going to say about that is pretty simple. See it, go in cold on it. It is a great action film. You should really check this one out. I knew nothing about it when I bought it, and I got it fairly cheaply, but it really worked. It had somebody that I didn't expect to see in it as well. Jimmy Wong Yu playing the big bad guy. Jimmy Wong Yu had been in kung fu movies since the 1970s, so that was kind of cool as well. It's got a philosophical underpinning which is really interesting, and one of the things I love about cinema increasingly is other cultures telling us their stories, and this one definitely does that. It doesn't come from any tradition of Anglo-Saxon storytelling. It doesn't run with a Hollywood story arc. It works really well. If you get a chance to see this one, definitely do it. So I'm now going to move on to the 6th film, the last of the first half of this movie marathon. And it's John Cassavetes' first movie, Shadows, from the 1950s. Haven't seen it, know nothing about it. I'm going in cold on this one. But it's going to be fun. See you after that. Okay, I finished Shadows, which was an improvised on the streets of New York 1959 black and white grainy picture, which I enjoyed. I liked the improvisations, I liked the characters that were created by the actors. It was John Cassavetes' first film as a director. His second one was a movie called Too Late Blues with Bobby Darin and Stella Stevens, which you should check out because it is good. That improvised feel kind of worked. It took me a moment or two to get my head into it. But when I did, I enjoyed the trip. I don't think it's the best of the movies I've seen so far by a long shot. But these first 6 movies of these 12 or so I'm going to be doing have been a hell of an emotional ride. So I'm moving on now to Space Battleship Yamato, a Japanese movie based on an anime, which I haven't seen yet. But I think I'm going to kind of enjoy. We're heading towards the lighter end of things, the shallower end of the pool now. So we'll see how that goes. I'll see you after that one. Okay, so that's Space Battleship Yamato down the hatch. Not a bad little space opera, live action, based on the old Star Blazers cartoon series from the 70s and 80s, which people remember quite fondly. The last 20-25 minutes of it drags horribly though. They have about 2 minutes of plot in 25 minutes and everybody's just hugging and saying goodbye during it. Doesn't really work from that point of view. But if you're into Star Blazers, you probably want to see this one. Next up, I've got Space Pirate Harlock, which is another anime adaptation. I think it may be animated itself, I'm not sure. It's a bit hard to tell from the cover. I picked it up at the Pop Culture warehouse sale yesterday, or actually day before yesterday. And I'm looking forward to watching this one because it looks like it's got a little bit of fun to it. Then I'm into the last 4 movies of this now. Brain fried. I'm about 50% brain fried from watching movies now, but I think I'm going to go the distance. I'm going to get through all 12 movies. I'm going to get through the full 24 hours without too much trouble. I've got Jack the Cat on the couch with me, so everything's going to be fine. I'll see you after Space Pirate Harlock. Catch you then. Yeah, still going with it. Harlock Space Pirate was pretty good. It's got a nice steampunk aesthetic about it. Good storyline. It was animated. The characters were great. The space battles were good. It was much better for me than Yamato was, so I really enjoyed that. It's heading on to midnight now, which means I've been going for 16 hours or something like that. But either way, yeah, I'm going to persevere with it. So the next one up is one that I got from my friend Armin in Germany. It's called Schneeflöcken. I'll show you the cover so you can read what that word is. No idea what it means. But it's got an angel in it, and I've been told by Armin that it's a good movie, so I'm going to watch that. It's got German subtitles. I think it's the last of the non-English language movies that I've got, though I could be wrong, depending on how the others go. But we're heading into the last 4 videos now, so I better get on with it and get things happening. I'll see you after the Angel movie. In case you were wondering, Schneeflöckchen, or whatever it is in German, means snowflake, and it's a pretty weird movie. It's about 2 hitmen in an anarchic near future Berlin who find out that their lives are being written as a script by a dentist. It's that fucked up. There are a whole bunch of other characters in there. There's the angel, there's a man who may or not be God, there's a young girl seeking revenge for the death of her family, and all sorts of other things, including some Polish cannibals. It's a messed up movie, and thanks Armin for giving me that one. So next up we have a movie which is probably the worst one I'm going to do in this 24 hours. Swinging Safari. It's an Australian film, and from all reports that I have from people of quality, it's bad. So I'm going to get that one done, and then I've got 2 more. I'm starting to feel like I know why I wasn't going to do this again. It's just endless. It's a weird headspace that this puts me in, to do 24 hours of movies one after the other. Towards this time of the day it becomes very, very difficult to do. But I'm going to see it through. I've got another 6 hours, so I'd better get on with it. I'll see you after Swinging Safari. Yeah, so this is a stage of things when I start asking myself why the hell I'm doing this. Surfing Safari was really ordinary. There were all the tropes of a 70s childhood, which I had myself, but they were just stacked together. There was no logic to them, there was no fun to them, and yeah, it was a wrong-headed film. It's probably a good movie to be made about having a childhood in the suburbs in the 1970s here in Australia, but Surf and Safari isn't it. It's a grotesquerie, and watching it at 3 in the morning counts as a human rights abuse. So it's time to move on to Dario Argento's Dracula. So I'll do that, and then I've got one more movie, and then I can go to sleep. Okay, I survived Dario Argento's Dracula, which was a low-budget, cheap, crazily bad CG'd version of the Bram Stoker novel. Even Rutger Hauer playing Van Helsing couldn't save it. Even gratuitous nudity couldn't save it. It's slow and tedious and incredibly bad. And now I'm just longing to go to sleep. But I've got one more movie to go. An early 1960s Mexican horror film called, and I'm getting the box to make sure I don't mispronounce the name, Muñecos Infernales, also known as The Curse of the Doll People. It's only 71 minutes and I can go to bed. Now I remember why I didn't do this again. It's towards the end, it drags incredibly, time dilates, and everything goes slow. So I'm going to watch the movie, and I think I'll go straight to bed after that, and I'll come back and tell you about that after I've slept, and just summarize the movies and get everything done then. So it's time for Muñecos Infernales, he said, holding it away from the light. See you after that. Okay, so it is now 3:28 p.m. the following day. Well, actually the same day that I finished watching Curse of the Doll People, and then I crashed out heavily, got about 6 hours sleep, went out and had lunch, did some other things, and I'm finishing the recording now. Watched all 12 movies within 24 hours, and it is not easy. It's easy up until about midnight. And then my brain started to seriously fry, and I looked at the piles of videos that I had to watch yet, well, one pile of videos I had to watch yet, and it seemed like an insurmountable job now. A lot of people think that watching movies is a very passive thing, and that it's something that you do as a relaxation, but when you watch 12 of them back to back, it becomes a very intense intellectual exercise. You're taking in a lot of data visually and through your ears, of course, in a relatively short period of time, and your brain needs sleep to process the information you receive during your day. So when you go 24 hours without sleep and constant input, it fries your brain a bit. I'm still feeling a little bit wonky today. I'm about to have another coffee when I finish recording this bit, because I just want to get through to normal bedtime tonight. I like doing the 12 movies. I'm not trying to say that I didn't like it. I did like it. I saw one of the best movies I've ever seen, Tokyo Story. I saw a bunch of other really fine films. I saw towards the back end movies that weren't good. Curse of the Doll People is pretty bad. It's a Mexican horror movie from 1962, or at least the English language version is from 1962. And it's slow-paced and turgid and silly, but it's probably the wrong one to do right at the end, because I think right at the end of a 12 movie marathon session, you need something with a lot of action and a lot of pace to it to kind of get you through that last hard part. Didn't have it. I picked poorly there. But it was a challenge, more than you'd think. It was a challenge, but I did see some very fine films. I got through a bunch of movies that were in my pile to be watched that I hadn't seen before, and I'm kind of cool that I got through them. I want to thank two people, well, two family members. First one is middle-aged geek girl, who cut me the slack to have 24 hours of sitting in a lounge room watching movies. She did help out a lot with that. And the other family member is Jack the cat, who kept me company right next to me here for a large part of the movie viewing. He's 19 years old now, just about, and he's a little bit decrepit for a cat, but he climbed up on the couch, he sat down next to me, he demanded pats, and he kept me company through the wee small hours of the morning. So thanks to him as well. If you like this video, or if you want to do the challenge, I challenge other movie YouTubers to do 12 movies in 24 hours just to see how you go. But if you enjoyed this one, please like, subscribe and comment. Tell me which movies you'd pick for a 12 movie 24-hour session. And I'll be back next week with another video. I don't know what I'm doing at this stage, but it's definitely not going to be a 24-hour session. So in the meantime, watch some good movies, watch some bad movies, watch movies you haven't seen before, and if people have told you about a really good movie you haven't seen, take a chance on it, especially if it's not English language and it's got subtitles, because you will be rewarded. Anyway, I'm going to go and get a coffee, and then later on tonight I'm going to get a lot more sleep. I'll see you then.